Word of the striker duel spread through the port quarter in the blink of an eye. Despite the early hour, a boisterous crowd of onlookers appeared next to the copper cauldron. Leif René, who I had yet to see that day, was already on the scene. He was dragging a slightly wheezing, gray-bearded fat man in a dark robe. Apparently he was a priest from the local temple of the Forefather. According to the rules of the ceasefire, a priest of that sect had to bless the upcoming duel, so the gods wouldn't be angered if blood was spilled. Naturally, to make sure the duel abided by all the rules, the temple got some donations as well as did the priest attending to the event. Leif and the priest were approximately the same build, but despite his wooden prosthesis, the tavern owner moved with several times more energy than the flabby cultist. He never let himself get too far behind, though, anticipating a generous reward. I laughed and nodded at the savvy owner of the copper cauldron. He didn't leave me hanging, and responded with an identically cheeky smile. I wouldn't be surprised to learn that Leif ran the temple for a priest as soon as he found out the Count de Mornay was on his way into the port quarter. While the duelers got prepared, the area outside the tavern entrance was cleared of tables and benches. The people formed a circle, and after a quick prayer from the priest, the strikers entered. Today was my first time witnessing the mage duel, and that scallywag Pierre Léger was not lying when he said his master was among the most powerful strikers. Scanning the Count de Mornay's energy system and comparing it to Sigurd's, I was forced to admit that my bodyguard was up against a worthy opponent. Honestly, though, in terms of development of energy nodes and channels, the Count lagged a good bit behind the former Frost Knight. I wouldn't be too far off to suggest that, in Dusk-Sworn Guild qualifications, the Count would be considered a strong Medius. If he continued progressing at this pace, another few years of training and meditation would lead to mainland gaining another of all. Beyond that, unlike Sigurd, Etienne de Mornay had no problem with energy. He was draped in a dozen whole brutes like a Christmas tree. I spent a little while watching him as he prepared for the fight. It was plain to see that the Count was very agitated, though he was trying not to show it. And of course, he had come to teach a lesson to a simple upstart chevalier, and now he was going to have to duel a fearsome striker, and one with the Blades of Dusk medallion hanging around his neck at that. Sigurd then acted like nothing was going on. I had already figured out that this Northerner was not all that easy to get to. He just slid a studious gaze over the Count a few times and seemed to have seen enough. Before Sigurd walked forward, I whispered to him quietly, "If possible, don't kill him. But don't handicap yourself either. I need you alive and well." After all, the death of a relation of the King of Burgonia might attract unwanted attention, even though I had every right. "Got it." Sigurd nodded calmly and, drawing his sword, stepped forward. The Count de Mornay, his chin thrust proudly upward, made a loud declaration, while pointing the tip of his hand-and-a-half sword at me. "After I'm done with the former priest, you're next." The crowd buzzed with delight and approval, and the looks in the audience's eyes retrained on me. Everyone was waiting for me to respond. The show had begun,